shuffle. And I'm quite excited, so I hope your day's been well. Be ready to relax, play some solitaire. For tonight, a little shout out to all of you musical people, lovers out there. So let's take a look at what we'll be working with tonight, as we have a cymbal and triangle joker pair, conductor, ace, that looks like a trombone, piano, French horn, just what's the snare player maybe, but that doesn't make sense up there, violin, saxophone, trumpet, harp, flute, baritone slash tuba, not sure for that one, and not sure for that one, I'm pretty sure that's a xylophone. Anyway, I'm excited for tonight. For those of you who don't know, I was quite into music, like I used to play instruments a bit. And if you've played an instrument, let me know which instrument you have played. I've gotten back into, I guess, classical music recently. So I thought it'd be a nice time to whip out this deck. But we'll save some of that conversations for later. As for now, please get yourselves nice and comfy. And let's get ready for our first game of the night, as these cards have a very nice texture to them. As we start with a 2 of clubs. Very interesting tones on the numbers, or colors I should say. Double 2s. And there we go. A couple plays, well, a play to start, and a couple to follow. And here we go. So as I mentioned earlier, I have gotten back into listening to classical type musics. As we put down that jack and 8 triple jacks. And I forgot how much I enjoyed that type of music. I grew up in a musical household, so I've always been listening to classical music since a young age. And I guess I kind of strayed away from it for a bit. But there's nothing like a nice old composition of Holst or Tchaikovsky. I was never much of a fan of heavily dominant piano pieces. It's very hard for me to listen to something that's just like, I think it's called Clair de Lune, something to that effect. It's been a while. Just because I like having a lot of different parts and things to focus on, as opposed to some nice melodies and runs. But yeah, I'll keep it at that. What's your favorite type of old-fashioned music? I specifically picked Tchaikovsky ever since I was a kid. I love Christmas music, but one of my favorites was the Nutcracker. And he made that piece, or suite, I should say. And it's always been one of my favorites, or go-tos. instruments. And if you'd like to give something a try, or listen, I'd recommend just the Nutcracker Suite in its entirety, or Holst the Planets in its entirety. And you might hear some music you've heard before. You might hear some things that sound familiar, where many modern-esque type composers may have stolen from. Anyway, we are having ourselves a good bounce back of a match after our start. And we are rolling at the moment. It's funny. Sometimes I'm driving, and in the car, you'll hear something very just old-fashioned music, and on the next song skip, it's something like Hollaback Girl or Lady Gaga, Queen, something to that effect. I just laugh to myself sometimes, just the contrast to music that comes up, or listening to, like what I just said, Holst, and then Linkin Park comes up. Very funny dynamic. Alright, so nowhere for that Queen. Can we build anything else? 5, 6. Can't move that. Can't get to that. So it looks like that is the end to this game. And since we do not have another red 5, I believe, to free up a 7, so not a bad start, but we still have 4 games to go. Almost got ourselves a fat stack along the way. Let's see which cards are left unturned. Double 2s and double 10s. Alright, let's go to an instrument question. So in your head, take a guess at how many instruments I've played, or I can play, and the word can envelops. I could play a song pretty much with it if you give me like 5 minutes. And not just like 10 seconds, but probably a minute or so. Alright, let me think on this while I do it. And let's begin our second game of the night. Alright. Also, a quick question for you, I guess, band people, would be, am I a percussionist, a wind instrument, or a brass instrument? I think from earlier you probably got a hint or two fairly quickly. Oh, or a string. Yeah, you probably know that's not the case. Here we go. I'll go through the instruments I know how to play, or I can play, as we begin our second game with another triple jack start. My goodness. So dominantly, my main instruments were the tuba and trombone. Oh my bad, I see it now. So those are pretty easy. Throw in the baritone, bass trombone for jazz, piano, some percussive instruments because, you know, they're not that hard. missing something? Oh, Peruvian pan flute. Just gotta go to the roots. Some other percussives that are non-typical. I think like an Australian thing or two are the Peruvian instruments. I guess you could count singing as using your voice as an instrument. Never bothered to learn trumpet. I didn't like using a tight embouchure. That was no fun. Also rules out the French horn, flutes. Never bothered with the clarinets or saxophones. So I think that's it. I'm probably missing something, but those are ones I'm pretty confident in. Oh, you know what? Let's go with this 9 instead. I was about to say, as we have a decent game, regardless of that rough start. I don't know, for me, I always felt a little bit weird whenever I did band. In my did band, I'd say I was in the top band at the school, as well as outside honor band crap. But I'd feel weird since I would go to band and then do baseball afterwards. And not many band people do sports, or not many sports people do band, vice versa type thing, as we get ourselves a fat stack to our left. Very good. I think it was always funny when I was in an honor band, so I'd have to go from band to baseball practice, and I'd show up to baseball practice with a big old tuba, and everyone's like, what the hell is that? They have to explain that type of thing. Like, oh, alright, cool. Let me know if you were a person who would do sports as well as like a fine art, or what you would call a fine art in high school. In high school, college, junior high school, whichever it may be. I think elementary school, as most of us, at least where I'm from, in good old, in parentheses, California. Okay. So it looks like that's the end of this one, similar to last time. 1 black, 4, no red ace to help us out, so on to our second game, but we're making progress, it feels like. So 8 cards, no 7 cards, left unturned. Let's see what they are. Double 2s and double queens. There's so much to talk about musically that I really don't know where to pick up. So I'll just kind of relax and not clock out, but kind of not force anything to come up. But as I say that, if you'd like to share some experiences from your past, please feel free to do so. I always enjoy reading your stories, experiences, however you prefer to phrase it. I would tell some of mine, but let's just say not all of them are safe to tell. So I'll just go from some of my older brother's stories. Before our silent game, I should say. So my brother is almost a decade older than me. So quite a difference in age and size. And I remember as a young kid, we would roughhouse, wrestle, fight, you'd throw me into the couch, that type of thing. Kinda to toughen me up. And I remember he would invite over some of his band friends, and they would fight me, not like aggressively, but play fight. And this one time, there was this character, I'll say, let's call him Dill. And my brother kind of volunteered him to fight. He was like this lanky guy. And I was about 4 years old. And I kind of grasped and did not let go and just kind of overpowered him. Anyway, so just to get an idea of what this guy's long, lanky, goofy, overpowered by a 4-year-old. So they had this competition out of state, or out of town. Is this really the end of our third game? I think it is. Alright, double check time. Gotta make this quick. Competition out of town. And I think he fell into a porta potty. Remember, lanky, small, could get beaten up by a 4-year-old. And he had to smell up the whole entire band bus from falling in. So now we're for the 4, obviously. 7, 2. Surprisingly, since we have 3 aces, queen, and jacks. Quick game. And we move on to our silent one of the night. But first, double sixes, double threes, triple sixes. Double fives, double nines, double queens, and triple fives. Before I am silent for the next part of the game, for you non-band type people, what is your stereotype of band people? Talk to you later. is Jack Attack. I believe every game has been a triple jack at the beginning, if not start. Weird. Anyway, we move on to our final game of the night. My oh my. And kind of to add on to what I said before, we started, I think the most common stereotype is probably the American Pie stereotype. And it's actually not too far off, which I think's kind of funny, or at least where I'm from. So, let's begin our final game of the night. Sixteen, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. 16 counts in for those of you who noticed. I believe typically it's 8. But a multiple of 4 is still just as fine. This one is not looking good with the spacing so far. Well, that clears up quite a bit, but still, that spacing is still present. But this is for sure helping, my goodness. Hot start. Can we wrap up tonight with the win? At the very least, we add a fat stack. Wow. What a nice little run so far. Unfortunately, after that amazing start, we could not add anything else behind it, as there's nowhere for that jack. 10, 9, jack once again, 8 or 10. Lots of repeats in here, it felt like. Couldn't even add on our aces, so that's it for tonight. At least we had some active games and some fat stacks. We move on to our next, but for now, it'll have to wait. So for the final time of the night, nothing special left unturned. And we are officially one step closer to 1,000. So my friend, that's it for now. It was fun. Please have yourself a relaxing remainder of your night.